Donnie Darko is an American movie released in 2001. It's a suspense and science fiction film. The synopsis takes place in 1988, and it tells the story of Donnie Darko, a problematic teenager who every now and then has visions of a gloomy big bunny named Frank, who tells him that the world is going to end soon. When this movie was released, it was slept on by the public, but nowadays it's considered a cult classic, mainly because of the many layers of depth that its plot had, and how it left a lot of people thinking, confused and coming back to it even after finishing it, leading thus to a lot of theories about what the movie was trying to tell the audience. A well-known essay talks about how Donnie was supposed to save the world from ending by doing what Frank dictated him to do, and how the rest of the movie takes place in a parallel timeline right after the jet engine falls on Donnie's bedroom, but it doesn't kill him. We're not going to go deeper into this theory because it has already been addressed in other essays. This essay is going to focus on something else. One of the movie's most popular features is that it makes a comment on a lot of problems in society, like politics, education, bullying, religion, time travel, nihilism, mental health, etc. That's why the movie is very complex to fully understand. Nonetheless, in this essay, we're going to view this film from a political and religious perspective. At the beginning of the movie, when Donnie Darko is having dinner with his parents and sisters, his older sister Elizabeth Darko talks about how she's going to vote for Michael Dukakis to become the governor of Massachusetts, generating some small argument between her and her father, Eddie Darko, who supports George H.W. Bush. Also, before the crash of the jet engine in Donnie's bedroom, Eddie, not being able to sleep, goes downstairs and watches the news about Dukakis on TV, where he expresses his disagreement with Dukakis' ways. Donnie Darko has a few characters who are from opposite-wing politics, like Mrs. Kitty Farmer, a teacher from Donnie's school, who's very open about her admiration for Jim Cunningham, a personal growth guru who's very popular in Donnie's town. Jim Cunningham believes that life's choices are divided between love and fear, and when Mrs. Kitty is giving Donnie and his classmates a lesson about fear and love, Donnie talks about how he doesn't think life can be that simple, like it was just black and white, when there can be gray areas too. That leads to an argument between Darko and his teacher, which gets him into trouble. This says a lot about Donnie Darko's social comment on iconoclasm, being the main subject Jim Cunningham, who society seems to admire. However, when he comes to Donnie's school to make a speech about how fear can ruin people's lives, he invites people from the audience to talk about how fear is present in their lives. That is when Donnie Darko stands up and expresses his disagreement with his ways of seeing life. Then Jim Cunningham tells him that even though he may not agree, he feels fear too. Donnie doesn't deny that he feels scared and confused, but claims that life can't categorize between two sides, and claims that he's the Antichrist. So when the tension is increasing, the teachers make Donnie get out of the room. So it may seem that Jim Cunningham is very influential in Donnie's town, but everyone knows how it ends. Donnie Darko sets his house on fire under Frank's orders, and the authorities find out that Cunningham was a pervert, so he gets arrested. Besides Mrs. Kitty and Cunningham, there are other characters with different political views, like Ms. Karen Pomeroy, who's the English teacher and wants her students to develop critical thinking. Sadly, that way of seeing things is what gets her fired later on.
Hi, I'm Santa Claus. In English class, Donnie reads a poem about how he all by himself will save the world from ending, as if he was some sort of savior. And every time Donnie speaks with Frank, Donnie feels like a messiah. Donnie Darko can see wormholes which dictate the following actions of the people surrounding him, which he interprets as God's pathways. Towards the end of the film, when Donnie is having a session with his psychiatrist, Dr. Lillian Thurman, Donnie talks about how he is not sure if there is a God, but he wants to believe that there's a God. So Dr. Thurman comes to the conclusion that Donnie's an agnostic, who's basically someone who doesn't exactly believe in God, but neither do they deny the possibility that there might be a God. Throughout the film, Donnie doesn't seem to understand why he should care about saving everyone from the end of the world, like the rabbits from the movie called Watership Down, which he was watching during Ms. Pomeroy's class. That's when his girlfriend Gretchen tells Donnie that the author might have cared about the rabbits because they meant something to him. With this in mind, Donnie Darko starts to be more empathetic with the people surrounding him, like Charita, a Chinese girl who frequently gets bullied in school because of her Chinese origins. So Donnie Darko shows her some empathy and tells that everything is going to be all right. Donnie now believes that he can take his own path, as he believes himself to be a messiah. Technically, he's not being guided by God, but neither is he being guided by an evil identity. Donnie Darko's in between morally. Hello, teacher. I just wanted to apologize for not making this exposition in time. I hope you can forgive me one day and we can go out for some hamburgers together.